Hello there. Welcome to episode 59 of Bow and Blade, a podcast brought to you by medievalist.net, your home for all things medieval on the internet. Bow and Blade gives you a seat at the bar as scholars of medieval warfare go beyond the Wikipedia articles to talk about the debates and the questions that we're working on today. I'm Michael Livingston, distinguished professor at the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina.
I'm Kelly DeVries, professor of history at Loyola University in Maryland, and soon to be emeritus.
Soon to be emeritus, as we've said numerous times. We're celebrating
Numerous
that.
times. I'm counting down the days, dude.
Yeah,
I am counting down the days. So,
and this is a fun episode because this is like following up on our last episode. We don't always kind of have immediate connection episode, but we do this time.
I think that we don't. This is the first time. I'm kind of excited about it. This is a siege, a very important place. It was, warred over many, many years, and then the conqueror, Magnificent the Conqueror, in last week's show, was so determined to take it and fails. The first real failure that Magnificent II had, and so now we're going to see Redux. Budapest Redux.
Belgrade Redux.
Belgrade, but I said
Budapest. Not Budapest.
Budapest is down yet another couple of weeks. So
Budapest yet to come. We're doing a Siege of Belgrade, another one, following up on the last one. And before we get started, what are you drinking tonight?
This was a hard one because I was trying to think, what do Serbians drink? It's probably grappa or something like that, but I think I'll go with a rich Serbian wine because I've had a bottle of that recently, and it was quite good and very, very deep red. So maybe all that bloodshed that has been caused by Serbia brings into the grapes.
Well, there's that rakia, or is that how it's pronounced? I'm sorry, I don't speak Serbian or anything even close to it.
Although,
oh yeah, although this week I found out one of my books, The Origins of the Wheel of Time, is now translated into Serbian.
I'm sure that's on your list to learn.
I cannot vouch. I assume the translation is fantastic. I can't check it. It's pretty awesome. What I love about that kind of thing, right? I've had a few things translated in other languages, SFU. And what's always fun to see is, do they translate your name or not? Right.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And most of them don't.
Yeah. Most of them don't. This one, they translated my first name, but left Livingston. So it's Majkl for Michael, but then it's just Livingston.
Oh, but that's cool. I think you ought to write that on your in your bio, Michael, and then in parentheses the Serbian spelling for it.
It almost looks like magical, which I think is just great. Like, Magic Mike, here we come. Don't expect me to dance.
Yeah, Magic Mike. There you go. In Serbian world, you're a Magic Mike. I think with Kelly, because the ones I've had translated only with Kelly, and I think they look at that and go, "Yeah, we have no translation for
that. We're not going to touch that one."
We're not going to touch that one. We can't even figure out the gender of the guy who's writing, let alone.
Yeah. Poor
congratulations
guy.
On that, Mike.
Thank you. It's
Wheels of Time. Mike has written this really superb introduction. What would you call it? Glossary. There's various different things that are in there.
Yeah, biography of the author. It's got a lot of stuff going on. It was a fun book to write. I'm not sure actually if that's my best-selling book. I don't know how to check that. I don't know. It's done well.
It's done well, yeah.
But that's pretty cool. So there's my Serbian connection.
Your Serbian connection. Well, congratulations. And believe it or not, we had actually planned this to be the second siege of Belgrade, the Belgrade in 1521, before you found out that your book.
No, I just got this email yesterday. Like, here's the cover. I'm like, oh wow, okay, look at that. Pretty cool.
So, So that's nice coincidence.
Yes, yes, and I didn't have to fight an Ottoman not once.
No,
So I'm very pleased by that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think Ottomans, maybe the Mongols would be my least wanting to be against them in battle, but Ottomans would be up there.
yeah,
They
especially
are
they're good.
they're good and they are tenacious
Yeah,
and
yeah,
fearsome.
yeah, and they bring a lot to bear. As we'll see,
As we'll
as we'll
see.
see.
The
They
unfortunate thing about that I find uh, about 1521 siege is there's no saint. We need a septuagenarian saint, as we had in 1456.
Yeah, it was nice having our boy rolling up onto the field, in as much as he rolls up. Getting out there. It's sheer lunacy, and I love it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and but
So
we're not going to have that this time. So yeah, this is Siege of Belgrade 1521,
yeah,
which is a bit later than 1456.
a bit later. Yeah, well, three sultans later. That's what's so shocking is that the Bayezid is the son of Mekbed. He rules for a certain amount of time, and then you get a very capable Selim II, and now 1520, the man who rises to sultany to the sultanship is Suleiman, who will become known as Suleiman the Magnificent to the West.
Yeah. And this is that probably a decent place to start. Suleiman, when he comes into the Sultanate, um, what do people think about him? Like what is the idea of what's kind of over the horizon with this guy coming into power?
Yeah, and I think it's really hilarious because the all the early indications, even indications when they know Salim is ill. So even they start around 1518, when everybody knows that Suleiman's coming on next. Now he's appeared to be this very studious guy, wears a big. Everybody talks about him wearing a big turban, but he's very studious. And then there's the fact that his father has turned most of the military activity against other Muslims in Egypt, the holy cities, and the Middle East. So we get very interesting reports. Venice sent tons of spies. I love reading Venetian reports about this time because there's spies almost everywhere. Venetians get these reports in the Senate all the time, and they're all, one says, oh, by the way, we can work with him. I mean, he's a really intelligent guy. He likes reading books. One of the other ones says that he has a hard time growing a beard. I mean, as if that was important for his military activity. Oh, well, he doesn't have a beard. We're okay now. And then even Louis II, who's king of Hungary, will be killed in the first decade um, of Suleiman's military activities. He even says, "Oh, I think Suleiman's going to be okay. I think we can breathe a sigh of relief." And of course, that's pretty much every time a sultan changes over in the Ottoman Empire. We're 2 centuries into it now. Every time a sultan changes over, everybody west of them breathes a sigh of relief because they figure it's not going to act very quickly. Suleiman changes that.
Suleiman flips this around, and yeah, you're right that Louis II was like, this is gonna be great. Well, in 1526, it's not because you're gonna die on the battlefield,
You can die on the
uh,
battlefield, yeah.
at the Battle of Mohacs. Um, but that's later on. Yeah, they really think this is, we're kind of like, this is a new era. This is good. This is good. This is gonna be
Yeah.
good for the West.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
And it's a new era the other way.
It's completely. I mean, he rises to the throne in September of 1520. By July of 1521, he's had his first war council and plans made to march an army to the west. It appears the early indication is there may not have been Belgrade he was first going after. It may have been Sofia, which was another town that had eluded the sultans up to this point in time. But along the way, or maybe that was just a ruse, historians seem to be a little bit on either side of this because we don't have any documents. He changed direction and goes to Belgrade.
Yeah, and you're right. He goes this. It seems like this is priority one is get on the move into this area. And there's probably a couple reasons for this. One is, um, look, great grandfather lost
Yeah,
at Belgrade, and a pretty crushing defeat, as we talked about last time, in terms of kind of what was aspired to and what ended up. That was really kind of a tough blow, and for the Ottoman Empire. And there is this sort of like I'm gonna fix it.
yeah,
I'm gonna fix
yeah,
it. Where great granddaddy failed, I'm gonna win.
yeah.
And in fact, we've already talked about Suleiman before because we did an episode on the Siege of Rhodes, 1522, which is another like
Exactly.
uh,
Exactly. I mean, he also wants to take it, and those are the two spots that great granddaddy doesn't take. Mehmed
yeah,
the Conqueror was simply conquered at both Rhodes in 1522, and or I'm sorry, Rhodes in 1480 and Belgrade in 1456.
yeah.
Uh,
Two big losses, and Suleiman is gonna really quickly go after those. And
and he
and
does.
and he does, right. And this first foray into Hungary, that previous, as we talked about last time, look, uh, Hungary was able to kind of very quickly gather defense against the advancing army.
Yeah.
To some degree, I think the Ottomans do this right in that they kind of know that Hungary is in rough shape.
Yes. Yeah.
There's not
And
a
just
lot
to
of
remind
continuity.
everybody, we're talking about Belgrade. Belgrade today is in Serbia, but at that point it was part of Hungary. It was part of the Kingdom of Hungary,
Right.
and it was very very important strategic spot as it always has been, sitting in the confluence of two rivers and high on a hill. The bottom part having the city, but the citadel way above it on a hill. It was perfect for that, and which is one of the reasons why it had been it could not be conquered in 1456. But Suleiman knows all that, and he chooses to go after it anyway. Uh, the army size is disputed. How many did Suleiman take? Of course, army sizes are always kind of disputed. We have a little bit better records on this than we even have on Rhodes, where we're getting the strength in Rhodes is from the Hospitallers. We actually have some Ottoman records that give us a notion that there's probably 60 to 80,000 soldiers, another 20 to 40,000 engineers and other things, because he's bringing a huge gunpowder arsenal with him.
Yes, major gunpowder arsenal. He's not messing around. He knows what he's facing here. Yeah, so we're talking probably likely 100,000 in
Total.
force total.
Yeah.
Um, and probably not a huge exaggeration. Like it's it's big. It's massive, and it's going to be needed if you're gonna try and take Belgrade. Could be, he knows how badly this went before. Um, but yeah, this question of whether or not is Belgrade the target. Um, we talked last time in talking about the earlier siege, why Belgrade is a target, like why you would need to take it. It sits, as Kelly said, right there at the confluence of the Danube, which is the thoroughfare through this part
A
of
river.
of the
Yeah.
continent, and the Sava, which is a major river in its own right. And Belgrade can more or less stop traffic on the Danube. And so if you want to use that artery, which you probably do, you need to control Belgrade.
Yeah.
And especially if you're wanting to reach beyond it, right? You don't want to leave a major fortification in your backfield. That's just like I'm sure you probably run into this all the time, Kelly. I know I do, where my students will say, "Well, why doesn't the army just go around the
Go
castle?"
around.
You know, and you're like, on the one hand, I could, you know, you can see where they're thinking, right? You know, these guys are going to lock themselves in the castle. Well, ignore them and go around them and leave them. Well, but there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
leaving a force in your backfield. Not good.
Especially since the Ottomans are not living off the field. They can't. Their army is too big. This notion of living off the field has died a long time ago in this type of warfare. The Ottomans have a supply line. And so if your army extends, now this army is going to eventually, by 1529, go to Vienna. So it's extended quite a distance. And any garrison that's worth its stuff is going to go after that supply line, that
Yep.
supply train. And the one thing an army needs to do, if you're especially that size, is eat. And
Yep.
and they do have water all around them, so that's not an issue. But they've got to have food stuff, and there's no way in the world they can get, especially since the Hungarians had been actively burning their own crops for as soon as Belgrade is hit in 1456, and again as soon as Belgrade's hit in 1521. That's just what any defensive force would do, and then most of the garrisons retired into the castles, the mountains, and so forth. So, and I think that maybe that's one of the reasons why that if he does change his mind, Suleiman does change his mind, it may be that he has heard that that hasn't happened. The problem is we don't have a record to say if that happened or not.
And this, you know, need to be fed the logistics of this, right? It's so easy to forget about
Yeah,
logistics.
yes, thank you.
If you're gonna try and move the amount of food of that 100,000 human beings need, uh, while waterway is a really great way to do that because of,
Yeah,
you know, barges and things like that. Like there's a reason that, you know, the Erie Canal here in the United States was so important. It enabled transport of goods and at a greater speed with more efficiency, more of it. Like that's a good thing for trying
yeah,
to do this. So, you know, again, you might kind of look at a riverway now and think, oh, like that's beautiful. And it is. The Danube is gorgeous.
it
Um,
is a beautiful river.
but but also like logistics, it's enormously important
Yeah,
for something like this. So there's so many reasons why Belgrade is so very much needed to be taken if you're wanting to make this push. And as Kelly said, and we talked about last time, the I think last time we called it what a wedding cake, isn't that I think what you called
yeah,
it?
the wedding cake. Yeah, the
Yeah,
city, the
such a
wedding
great
cake.
great image because it's what it is. You know you
Yeah,
have this kind of
yeah,
the floodplain, right? But then there's this rock outcropping upon which the Citadel is built, and it's this kind of tiered thing. And if you
yeah,
make it into the lower city, which has its own fortifications, you then face this interior big hill, big rock with its own fortifications and a citadel on top. It's really kind of concentric defense.
and I think Suleiman has the one thing that we figure out by Ottoman armies very early on, and the Byzantines found out that the same. All the people who they stomped over, the Byzantines, the Persians, everybody that they went over, found out fairly early on is they spent tons of time planning.
Hmm.
There was no randomization of this. I mean, it takes months for them to plan these sort of things. And so, even though the council we see in June, July of 1421, they had been talking about this, no doubt, for a long time before.
1521.
And if he does change, the one thing I would say, if he does change, is there is nobody left like Janos Hunyadi did in 1456 to block the river, and that may have been what changes Suleiman's mind to go after Belgrade rather than Sofia early on. Is that he's got an unblocked river. Belgrade is surrounded by two sides. Now he can move supplies up and down, but Belgrade's still giving him a problem if he doesn't take it.
Yeah, and yeah, it was 1521, not 1421.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1521.
And so yeah, by June, um, they're already getting there.
Yeah.
And this is under works. Um, the as Kelly just said, you don't have much organization against them. You don't have that
Yeah.
great military figure, either in Hunyadi, but then of course also our saintly old feller.
Yeah.
We just
Giovanni.
we don't have that against you, and if
Yeah.
you don't have those figures organizing, well, that's going to make things a lot easier, likely. And if the river is more or less open to us, as Kelly said, it's easier to get kind of a full blockade, which is one of the failures that Great Granddad had, which is he didn't fully blockade because he lost that quick naval battle at the start. He wasn't able to secure the water side,
Yeah.
so Belgrade could get people in and out as they wanted. All right, we're not gonna have that mistake. We're gonna take control and actually
Yeah.
put this to a kind of a proper siege, which is that it will be kind of fully surrounded. Um, this siege, uh, we're talking about a lot of men again. You need this to go as quickly as you can, not only because it costs money to feed all these guys, right? But having this many people in an encampment for very long, you got to worry about disease. So what is Suleiman, the future magnificent? What is his plan to do this as quickly as possible?
Well, having the rivers open means that he can at least put ships around them, cut them off the city. That's two sides of the city. The other is that, and this is telling from the very beginning, he has big trust in his gunpowder arsenal. Something that Mehmed had as well, but Mehmed didn't have the technology Suleiman does. I mean, we're 50 years down, 60 years down, and the guns have gotten better. And you could see this. I mean, going to seeing the guns, for example, on the plane in front of the Naval Museum in Istanbul, you can actually see the very big differences, and how Suleiman has his gun makers make these huge bronze pieces that are able to fire lead and iron and lead cannonballs. These are going to make damages against the lower part. So he gets there before his army has entirely arrived. He pulls his guns up and starts bombarding the city walls. He doesn't even charge them for a few days.
Just
He
starts pummeling.
just pummeling.
Yeah,
And even if they've got some defensive guns, and there is a very interesting Arab poet that has left us an account that talks about the guns being shot from both sides, but especially impressed by Suleiman's. Uh, you're not going to have this size. You're not going to have the strength from the walls of the city in defense of the city against Suleiman, who has big guns, and he's letting them go because he can bring gunpowder down. Gunpowder is being made very easily in the Ottoman Empire now, and he can ship them right down from the Istanbul gunpowder mills.
more guns, bigger guns,
Bigger guns, stronger
with
guns.
stronger guns with more range.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with plenty of ammo. That's not good. That's not good.
No,
If you're in Belgrade, that's plus not good. And yeah, there doesn't even seem to be, as Kelly said, much interest in, like, let's talk about this first.
no.
It's like, and just start shooting, like start leveling.
In fact, if I could tell the chronology right, there's a little bit of an iffiness at this point in the siege. But it appears that some of Suleiman's troops are off knocking down other castles around the city while the guns are being just used against Belgrade. They don't need them anywhere else. They need them to blow up. And the thought is, always is, if you take the bottom part of the city, there's not a lot in the garrison. Take the bottom part of the city, maybe they will surrender. I mean, I think that's what Suleiman wants. They don't in this case, and he'll find that also in Rhodes. But they they really do focus on these lower fortifications. and the garrison is not long in the lower town before having to retreat to the top.
And
Now, I
this is
will say
where great granddad failed.
this is where Great Grandel failed. He could not. I mean, he didn't have the technological power to do it, and he also had very tenacious uh, defenders who, because the guns were not as strong in the first siege, they would they would get out of the sally ports and other things during the night and go and do naughty stuff to the guns that are out there. I mean, knocking out the carriages and things like that. There's no way of doing that here. These are guns that are very strong. They can't just be spiked. They have to be, and they're bronze. They can't be. They have to be. They can be reused over and over and over again.
Yeah. And the earlier sieges we talked about last time, you get a breach, and this one kind of charge in, and then everybody gets kind of trapped. Not everybody, the cream of the crop, the elite, go in there and get trapped and get slaughtered pretty much.
Yeah,
And that was disastrous. This feels much less sort of like let's make a breach and go in, as opposed to now it's like this is just punishing destruction,
yeah,
and then we'll climb over the rubble. Is much more the feeling I get on this.
yeah. I think you're absolutely right. The tactics here, Suleiman has moved his tactics out of even well, Salim, his father, is a very good tactician, and so Suleiman has certainly seen that in the attacks in the Middle East and in Egypt. He follows those same tactics, and one of them is attack at several different places. So you're not focusing. I mean, Rhodes and Belgrade, both with the conqueror, Mehmed, they were focused on one spot always. But Suleiman had focused on a lot of spots in the wall, and then when one was weakened, then he could direct more intensive fire against that. So I think tactically he's quite strong on this. And one of these days we'll do Vienna and talk about how it's just too big.
Yeah.
Belgrade was able to do this. Rhodes is able to do this. Vienna, he won't be.
Yeah, and it's almost just like a square footage kind of problem, right? And like, how are you going to cover that much, perimeter? Um, Belgrade, you don't have a lot of perimeter. I mean, for as strong as it is, it's not a massive plot of land that is being attacked. And so, yeah, it's a lot easier if you can control the waterways.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to just kind of like pummel these walls and like along that whole side. And once they start cracking, then
Yeah, you can go in.
then yeah, you can roll in.
Well, think about even one more step. If Suleiman is attacking the walls all around, which he does, that means that your garrison, with its limited number of gunpowder weapons in defense, has to be all around. They
Right.
cannot focus in one area. And so it does mean the defense is much more porous than than they were in 1456. There's no question. And it's a smaller force,
Yeah, a lot smaller.
a lot smaller. In fact, there's one source, and I'm not entirely certain whether this is a Hungarian source or a source from the Ottomans, that only 200 reinforcements have arrived. And so they've got the garrison in there, Serbs and Hungarians. 200 more arrive. But that's quite small in comparison to, say, what Giovanni da Capistrano brought with him,
Yeah, the
even though
thousands
they
upon
weren't
thousands.
experienced, thousands upon thousands. You're right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
a lot of things that the garrison cannot do that the 1456 garrison was able to.
yes, for sure. So like this is look, on paper, this is going to go one way.
Yes, yes,
And like some other things we've done, the paper turns out to be right. I mean,
yes, yes.
we have those that like like Agincourt or Crécy, where
Yeah,
it's like on paper this should go one way and it didn't. It went the other way.
yeah, way.
This one's like, nope, this on paper it should go one way and it does go
And
that
it
way.
does. It does. And it doesn't take a large amount of time. And that's not to minimize. the bravery of the garrison because they don't surrender. This is
Yeah.
the one thing. They don't surrender until they're down to 70.
Yeah.
70 men on the inside will finally surrender. But but all through this early bombardment, if Suleiman wanted to see a quick end to the siege out of surrender from the garrison, it didn't come. They just simply said, "Let's go upstairs."
Let's go upstairs. Like, so yeah, as after, the lower city just gets pummeled and pummeled and pummeled to broken stone. Yeah, the garrison limps back up the hill into that, more interior part of the higher citadel part of the wedding cake. I'm like, all right, well, now you got to take this,
Yeah,
which is concentric defense, right? That's how it should function. I just had a documentary come out yesterday with History Hit about Chateau Gaillard, talking about concentric defense, right? That's such a laboratory for that.
yeah,
And this is what's happening here. You can get through here, good job. Now you got to do it again, and then again, right? As you get through. Um, and yeah, it seems like Suleiman thinks, okay, cool, I got the lower city. They're not gonna surrender? Oh no,
yeah,
because getting the gunpowder to hit up there, that's
yes.
very difficult.
And it appears that his guns can't reach it. That's if we're reading the sources the way the way that I've read them, my interpretation is that they could not hit the garrison with their guns from below. The guns weren't made at that time to fire at that elevation. Uh, so you'd have to put them on a slant even to make them go up there, and that would necessitate a whole bunch of technological devices to hold the gun in place and hold it in place after the shot where the gun normally would have backed some. They couldn't have that happen. Just keep rolling down the hill.
Keep rolling back, and you're fighting gravity. Yeah, they're not made for this. Technology advances at a certain rate, and where it had advanced was fantastic for getting into that lower city, but not so much for this upper city. So what on earth can Suleiman do? I mean, this guy's going to become magnificent. So what on earth can he do?
He's going to become magnificent. Yeah, and this is his first one. Just to give the dates that how fast the bottom falls. So the guns start up firing on July 23rd, 24. 29 July 26th is the first time the wall is being breached. Suleiman arrives on July 29th, and on August 1st, the um, walls are starting to be broken. August 8th, they make their way in. So he's literally 2 weeks after he starts, he's got the bottom city, but now it's a huge problem up there. And I'm not sure now. Suleiman will come up with something, but without telling him what he comes up with, because this is a major, and as far as I can tell, one of the earliest times that this tactic is used. What would you have done in this circumstance had you been Suleiman? I just am curious.
Uh, well, like first of all, I'm feeling pretty good about myself if I'm Suleiman, because I'm magnificent. Um, you know the one option, obviously, you're thinking long term, I starve these guys out.
Yeah,
I can starve these guys out, and that's, you're hoping you got tight enough lines. I can do that, but there's not a lot of defenders, and if they've got a lot of supplies, it can last a long time.
right,
And the longer we're in place, I've got a huge number of guys. The more likely I'm going to have sickness in my camp. So I also want to get this done as early as possible. If my guns can't reach the walls, at least adequately to knock them down, right? If it won't work, uh, well, what are my options? I can try and charge, like just start throwing men at it, like to try and I don't know. That's not going to work great. Not going to make me look great. I mean, you
right.
about got to do what he does.
Yeah. 2 centuries earlier, I mean, Suleiman would have done exactly what you said at the beginning. he would have had to withdraw, put a token number of troops down below, and waited for the Citadel to starve out. He has no idea how much food is in there. He knows that they don't have a lot of troops left up there, so whatever food goes is going to last longer. There's no townspeople up there; they've already been gotten out. Yeah. Um, I said, well, siege, you have to go over, under, or through the
Or
walls.
through.
He only has one thing he can do is go under because he cannot go over. That he'd need a special flight of bomber birds or something to go over,
And through
and
would
he
through
can't
would
go
be
through.
just so bloody. I mean, you know, you can't imagine the number of bodies would pile up trying to just charge the gates again and again and again.
And any charging up on the gates is
Yeah.
going to be absolutely fatigued by the time they get there.
Yeah, just be carnage.
So he resorts to something that has been, that goes all the way back to at least Jericho, and that is mining the towers. Now that's a little bit more difficult to do because this is rock. We're not talking about dirt on
Not
the,
dirt.
we're talking about rock. But he's got time and he's got the engineers. I think this is why he brings those extra 20 to 40,000 people along, is to do the engineering and the pioneering and digging and so forth. So, and he starts digging under the city, he starts digging tunnels under the city.
It it's yeah, there's no real other choice. But it's also just like the staggering kind of scope of it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like you're on a mountain. Okay, well, what if I dig through the mountain? Like, how about I just like unmake part of the mountain? That'll solve my problem. Like, yes, it would.
And
But
what?
this is one of these moments. I always think of Alexander the Great, um, with the siege of Tyre, where it's like, well, you can't besiege it because it's an island, and that only works from land. And Alexander being like, well, but what if we made it part of the land? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not. Yeah, yeah, but hear me out. Like, I
Yes.
got this
Yeah.
many guys. We get enough buckets of dirt and rock. We can make that part of the land, and then we can do what we want to it. I'm like, oh, that is true, but
That
whoa.
precisely so. And the time they've got time on their hand. I mean, Alexander's not constrained himself by a winter season, and the Ottomans don't appear to be either. They've been, I mean, they definitely want to get it over, but it's only August. They got a lot of time to go before anything is going to, the weather's going to change significant enough to hurt his troops. So
Get
yeah, go
digging.
through.
Get
Now there's
digging.
there's one problem about digging through a mountain. That is the actual digging through a rock.
One
There's a
one
second
problem?
problem, which is you can't dig through and completely destroy the Citadel because he's going to use this town.
I'm
He's
gonna
going to
need it.
want to, yeah, he's going to need it. So you got to do something. And so he starts digging. And like it seems they did below, he digs in a few places, but it becomes very clear that there's one that is on the left side of the Citadel, left side of the right side of the gate if you're coming out of the gate. But if you're looking from Suleiman, it's on the left side of the gate. And that one seems to either have less rocky terrain, or maybe the tower up above it is not as well built, but it starts to become the access point. So at that point, he starts pulling all his pioneer together and they focus on this one spot. Still, he's got to bring it down.
You got to bring it down. And like it just to imagine this from I always imagine it from the inside. You're thinking like we're good up here. We're
Yeah.
good. We're good. Uh Man, there's a lot of guys down there digging. What are they doing?
Yeah,
Uh
exactly.
they're carrying a lot of wheelbarrows of stuff out. Like what's going
Yeah.
on? And then a tower starts getting wobbly. Like that's the terror of that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Still, the tower's up with the rock. I mean, it's not like the whole thing is built on dirt. So that when they
Right.
collapse it, which is the traditional way, is just to put a green wood or cover that wood with pig's fat and burn it
Right.
because the rock. I mean, that's why caves are made, right? There's the rock can sustain something on top of it. It's just a little bit more heavy. So Suleiman knows this, and he comes up and now, like I said, this is the first time I read where this tactic is employed, and it makes a lot of difference here. It makes a lot of difference on roads. So, but I don't know that it's the first time that anybody has talked about it. I don't know whether Suleiman is the one who develops the tactic. But he fills those instead of the green wood and the pig's fat, he fills them with gunpowder.
We're gonna Helm's Deep this thing. Yeah. So to go back, I mean, what Kelly's saying there, I think we've talked about this before, but it's worth kind of repeating because this is such an essential difference. Normally, when you mine a wall, you mine underneath the foundations, and you're holding up your tunnel with wooden supports. And at a certain point, you're now holding up the wall with your wooden supports. And then you cover it with, as pig's fat or something, or maybe it's just as a kind of green wood, it's already flammable. You set fire to it, your supports collapse, and when they do, the tunnel collapses, and then the foundation collapses and the wall collapses. That's a real basic how mining works.
But it was a huge effect ever since, for thousands of years,
yeah,
they'd use this tactic.
This is great. It works great. But as Kelly said, if you're tunneling through rock, the rock itself is the support. Like, you burn your little wood down there all you want, it ain't going to do nothing. You still got a rock arch over top of you. So you gotta get rid of the rock arch. Well, how are you going to get rid of that? Well, with enough gunpowder, I could blow it to bits. This is like, in later on, dynamiting a railroad tunnel, right? This is how you're going to do it. Put a bunch of gunpowder in there. We know that, packed gunpowder, if packed into a tight constraint, is going to cause an explosive effect. That's how those cannons work. So let's shove this thing full of gunpowder, light her up, and see what happens.
Yeah. And he does this on August 27th. So if you think that they've only broken the walls down below on the
if you think about the timeline Kelly just said, you'll see something of effect.
He's obviously got a hair appointment or something he has to get to rather quickly. So I can't even imagine. But of course, the interesting thing is that we have enough engravings from this period and just before and just after. We can actually see the difference because they do finally focus on August 27th. They explode the one mine under a main tower protecting the Citadel on the Sava River side. And from then on, the engravings will show no part of that mountain left.
Takes it down.
He just blows the side of the mountain off, and the tower comes right down afterwards.
It's like, again, it's like Alexandria. That's now going to be a peninsula. That mountain is no longer going to have that little corner bit there is going to be gone. And the fortification on top of it also gone.
Yeah.
In the process, there's our access. Get in. It works.
It works. And I mean, it works to the extent that you can actually see it on the artworks that are being done. These big, large map artworks of Belgrade that are taken from the rivers and so forth, drawn from the rivers. And it's changed. It's just like 1/4 of the mountain is just not there anymore. So unfortunately, we don't have an eyewitness who tells us this, but it must have been an incredible explosion, an incredible slide down of rock and tower and everything down the side of the mountain.
It had to be so cool to see.
It would have been
so
really
cool to see.
Not cool if you're inside.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and it it's kind of almost an anticlimax to say the next day the garrison surrendered.
Yes, correct. And we're done. We're done. We just needed a day to pack up our things.
We can't win. We can't win against this. There's only 3 more towers left on this thing, and he's brought the first one down in less than 3 weeks.
I just the power of it. Like I'm sure somebody somewhere has like tried to do calculations of the kind of like likely TNT equivalent of what it took to do this. I'm sure somebody's tried to like back of the envelope. But what a noise that must have made. What a sight it must have been. And those, yeah, poor 70 dudes up there. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
done. We're done,
we're
man.
done.
Uh,
What do you need us to surrender?
yeah.
We'll do it.
And he
Yeah,
spares their lives.
the very same. He does save their lives. And I read now or he lets the Hungarians go back, but the Serbs he actually takes to Istanbul, and they form a community that's still there today, still a Serbian community with the descendants of these people from the siege outside of Istanbul. But yes, what those what anybody within or without that siege, that must have been a moment that no wonder there's no record. I mean, it could be hard to describe what they saw.
And he'll try this again at Rhodes.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
and he's very successful at Rhodes.
yeah.
I still think that the explosive mines in Rhodes are what will eventually wear the Hospitallers down. They can't compete against it.
Yeah.
But they've got that wonderful description at Rhodes where the wall lifts right up and settles back down, and Suleiman can't mine under it anymore.
Because it's leaning out.
It's leaning out,
I
and
love that. It's
I
like,
mean, the
come on.
amazing power of that. Even though Suleiman has huge guns and he's using them, all these had huge guns and he's using them. The explosive mine on Belgrade, I think, changes warfare. I think that the success of that in a place that cannot be attacked any other way, that changes warfare.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to think so because it really does. That this whoever thought of it, like, hey, what we're doing in the cannon, we could do in that rock of that mountain. And you know how sometimes our cannons blow apart? I think we put enough of a crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does change things.
You do wonder if somebody's got a theory of it beforehand. If there's like a theoretical physicist on the sideline who say, by the way, we can add, gravity's one thing with mines that works. What do we do if we blow the huge thing up?
Yeah,
And then somebody said, then one of the engineers says, I can do that.
I could do that. I got an idea. Yeah, I mean, if anybody's talking about it before this, yeah, I don't know of it, and certainly there's nothing that I know of on remote to the scale of this. This is just, I mean, it changes the shape of the mountain. Like it
It
changes
changes the shape of the mountain. Yeah.
changes the earth. Kaboom. Absolutely extraordinary. And Belgrade Falls. Like that's that amazing last siege, they succeeded and they had a few decades afterwards, but now boom, gone. And this train is going to keep steaming on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it doesn't come back into I doesn't come back out of Ottoman hands until we're talking the 19th century.
No, I thought 17th century. Isn't
Oh,
it
it's the
17th
17th
century?
century. Yeah.
I want to say it's 17th century. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but yeah, I want to say it was like late 17th century that finally
Yeah.
somebody gets a hold of it again. But I can't remember. That's after the Middle Ages.
Yeah, that's pretty much after.
Yeah, that's journalism at that point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Maximilian of Bavaria, 1688.
Wow. Good memory, man.
Look at
Good
that.
memory.
So, yeah, an extraordinary event, very important in that what this means for the Ottomans and Suleiman.
Yeah.
Right. This is going to pretty much lead to the battle we mentioned at the start, 1526. Louis of Hungary is gonna bite it. Really, really major battle there.
It will also mean that Budapest doesn't have to have the same siege. They were able to walk into Budapest because they destroyed the Indian army. The Indian army, sorry, the Hungarian army.
That's the other direction.
Freudian slip there, yeah. They destroyed the Hungarian army and they just walked into Budapest. only, of course, in 1529 to meet the end at Vienna, where they
Yeah.
can't do. I mean, the walls are simply too big to do any of the explosive mining that breaks down Rhodes and Belgrade. But amazing, it's always fun to have a septuagenarian saint running around swinging his cane and the beard flying back and forth. But one big explosion.
It's pretty legit.
That is legit.
And Suleiman, I find Suleiman just as an individual to be a pretty fascinating guy.
He is. He is. And I mean, he lets the garrison go. Now we know there's only 70. We think there was probably fewer than 1,000 to start out, maybe around 700. So they've lost 9/10 of their men. That's pretty significant. Suleiman loses 35,000 in this siege. So even with the tenacity, even with the technological stranglehold of both rivers and everything else, he still can't keep the casualties from far exceeding those that he's attacking. And that'll be the case all the way through his career, is
Yeah.
the huge numbers of casualties. Rhodes will be significantly more. And then afterwards, it's always around 35,000. But in
Yeah.
most cases, Malta and Vienna, he'll hit 35,000 and he'll retreat at
Yeah.
that point. So he's a fascinating person. I think among these, generals and rulers who are dealing with military activity during we've got so many to stand out. William the Conqueror, of course, and Pierre d'Aubusson, the first siege of Rhodes. Suleiman is marked by brilliance that is unsurpassed by anybody else in the West. And he rules for 46 years.
And builds an amazing mosque. Multiple actually.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Multiple.
2 years ago, Mike, a year and a half ago, Mike and I spoke at that mosque,
Golly,
conference of the mosque. And
that was incredible. That was incredible. And the whole thing was amazing. Really, really amazing conference. But the one my session was in a prayer room attached like right around the back of the mosque. It was that was incredible. Everybody had to take their shoes off
yeah,
to give. I'm giving the talk in my
yeah,
socks. It was amazing. It was amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Istanbul is God. It's incredible.
It is
Um,
incredible. And that mosque, which Sinan builds for Suleiman before Suleiman dies, I mean, he recognizes his magnificence. Uh, Absolutely
really, really,
recognizes.
really amazing. But yeah,
Yeah.
got the mausoleum of Hurrem Sultan there, Roxlana. Um,
Oh yes.
yeah, the which I guess was like it's right. I think it's right behind that. Right is the building where part of the complex where we're given a talk.
Yeah, we were in
Uh,
the Madras, which is also that old, built at the same time. So yeah, it was something to be actually standing and where Suleiman likely had stood himself and talking about military affairs. His considering that is his career. Surprisingly, the Ottomans called him the lawgiver rather than the magnificent. That was the Western term, was the magnificent. They called him the lawgiver.
which is nice, but I mean, brother, go for magnificent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, law
Like
giving is important. Let's face it.
it is. It is.
Yeah,
I'm
he,
not saying
he
it's not,
doesn't win though.
but
He doesn't give laws.
yeah, I'll take Mike the Magnificent any day. Um, or magic or magical Mike.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine
yeah.
too. What do you wish you had or knew of this amazing siege that we do not have?
Yeah. We've got actually the one thing with this siege, especially in comparison to Rhodes, is we have a lot of sources from Suleiman's army. We actually have a log book, a daily book that's kept about the siege. We have sources in Arabic, Arab poets there, and a number of different things that make it a lot more open to this. I'd like to know. I'd like to know to have a document that talks about what Suleiman's strategic plans are, not just the tactics that he uses. We can see that, but what was his strategic plan? Is he duping everybody to think he's going to Sofia? Does he figure Belgrade falls now? He's open. I mean, he certainly seems to follow it up, but he diverts to Rhodes first. Is he worried about Rhodes before he goes into Hungary proper? I don't know. I mean, I'd like to know a little more about that.
Yeah, it is interesting that he moves over to Rhodes. You could have a psychological explanation, right? Of just like, the big places where great granddaddy,
He
he
failed.
lost. I'm gonna win, and then we're gonna go further. Well, all right. And you don't want Rhodes again. You don't want enemy in your backfield. Rhodes is potentially in the backfield. I don't want that. So I need to take Rhodes. Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. I wish, and I can't have it. I want footage of the explosion. That's what I want.
Yeah, that would be
This
good.
I can't have it, but that's what the hell I want. I want I want Helm's Deep. I want footage of the big kaboom. That's what I want.
Yeah,
That's all I
yeah, yeah.
want.
So, any
I,
of our listeners who have a time machine, set
I
it
don't
for
I don't ask for
August.
much.
No,
I
that's
don't
right.
ask for much, but that's what I
No,
want.
no, we will learn Turkish. We'll dress ourselves up, but we want to be inside of that explosion. We want to witness that.
Yeah, I want to be across the river, camera out, just take it. I
Yeah,
want to see.
phone. We got our phones up
Yeah,
towards
her
us.
phone's up. They're like, "What the hell are you doing? Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about yourself. All right, just worry
Yeah,
about
that's
yourself."
it.
And then get back in the machine and come home. Um, yeah, well, the thing I would love is I would love to know how was it always the plan to do that, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like had
yeah,
he did he already know, okay, if they go up there, when we take the lower city, they're going to go up in the upper city. I don't want to be here very long because I'm going to cause disease. I mean, those 30,000 plus deaths, a lot of loss to disease, which is going to be inevitable anytime you get an encampment. I don't want to have these huge losses in the encampment from disease. I need to get this done. Here's the plan. Is that something that was already cooked up, or was it on the spot? I'd really love to know that, because if that was always like kind of in the back of their mind, if these guys don't surrender, how are we going to get up there? Oh, we're going to knock it down. Uh, that is some extra high level awesomeness. Ottomans are planners. That's
yeah,
nice. That's well done. You know what I mean?
yeah. And that, it's interesting because having written on the Siege of Rhodes a few times, it takes a long time for them to resort to explosive sieges, explosive mines.
At
It,
Rhodes, it
it,
does.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, because the one thing, and we forget about this, one thing that is really expensive, even more than the cannons are, because it's constantly used up, is gunpowder. And so it seems at Rhodes that they're very reluctant to use that amount of gunpowder against the walls. On the other hand, it seems that the wall falls, the lower wall falls less than, was it 3 weeks later? The explosive mine goes off. I could bet that the miners are digging, maybe thinking they don't have to use gunpowder. They can do it the old-fashioned way. Gravity would take and bring this rock down. And perhaps it's only when they see it's not happening that they resort to gunpowder. That would be interesting to know, because we don't get the intermediary on that.
And at Rhodes, yeah, they seem to, for the most part, for the
Yeah,
the 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 vast front end of things, it's doing it the traditional way, and trying to do the mining. But also Rhodes is such a different case
yeah,
in the way that those fortifications are constructed at Rhodes, the way that the walls have been reconstructed, by the Hospitallers, and what you're having to cross and get through to even get
yeah.
to the walls, is a very, very different situation.
Yep. And you're right. I think you're absolutely right on that, because it does seem that right after this lower town is taken, the thought immediately goes to digging under
Yeah.
the towers. Yeah. So different plan.
But mostly I want footage. So they're
Time machine.
time
Come
machine.
on. Time machine fans.
They're gonna lock the doors on us, folks.
There. There.
And the thing is, our next episode's Q&A. So if you have questions, we need them.
Yeah.
We have some existing in the bag, but we always want more.
Exactly.
More. So please do. I hope you enjoy us. Please do join us next time. We'll be doing our next Q&A and get those questions in.
Got some good ones.
We do.
But we need more.
We need more. As ever, a reminder. This podcast is sponsored by medievalist.net. So the best way to support us, other than buying our individual books, of course, is to join their Patreon at patreon.com/medievalists. That's also the absolute best place to drop us a line if you have questions for that upcoming Q&A. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.